We are live.
Dun, 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 dun.
Trying to catch that the thing kind of mood.
It sounds good. I like it.
I went and saw there's been a lot of thing talk
Just
amongst
because
the
of like,
podcasts.
oh, okay. I was like, why has there been a lot of thing talk? Like, why
Well,
not?
it's pretty. It's just because it's Halloween's coming up, so
That makes sense.
it's a horror
Speaking
movie.
of speaking of Halloween, in the car earlier today, like the kids were like, I don't want to listen to this song, so Aaron let me pick the music, and I put it on a Halloween favorites playlist, and it played "Superstition" by Stevie Wonder. I'm like, that's not a Halloween song, is it? I don't know. I don't think it is. Sometimes
I
those algorithms just pick random songs. Like, it's close enough to what this is. It doesn't matter.
very superstitious writing on the wall. I mean, that could be scary.
It could be, but it could just be, someone's crazy and drew on it with shit. Like, I don't know. It could be anything.
Again,
You
that's
never.
not that's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah. It doesn't scare me. It just smells. Yeah. I never thought of that song as a Halloween song. I was just like, that's different. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, probably some weird tag in the algorithm just threw it on.
They're like, this seems fun, and nobody checked it. Like, whatever. I think it's close enough.
I guess if somebody cares enough, they'll complain. You'll have to file a complaint, Matt.
Yeah,
never
I'm
play
gonna
this
do it.
song Halloween ever again.
Yeah, I am offended. My family had to listen to Stevie Wonder. Do you know what Stevie Wonder does to people that like Halloween? He looks them right in the eye if you can find where they're at, and then he tells them off. That's what he does. Is that be bad to say? Probably, but that's fine.
I don't know. Would you consider the song "Every Day Is Halloween" a Halloween song, even though it's stating that every day is Halloween?
That's borderline. It depends on the day. I think probably, but I might change my mind if it's the middle of the week. I had to move because our neighbor's mowing the yard in the front yard, so everywhere I go, there's sound. If you unlock my car, I can sit in my car like a weirdo and do that. Just look like I'm thinking about ending it all or something.
The perils of podcasting.
Yeah, like this podcasting thing, I don't know. I might just try to gas myself outside. It won't work, but it's okay. It's not your fault. I had to move because I didn't know the neighbor was going to start mowing his yard. I didn't know that was happening. So changing venue again, but welcome to the American Greed Factory podcast.
It's also the Formula One Japan Grand Prix today,
which is exciting.
It started at midnight, and then there was a rain delay, and then they eventually got the race going, and then I didn't see the first part of it. I just saw like highlights of it. So I'm guessing there must have been immediately a crash. Carlos Sainz crashed into a sign, nearly got T-boned by the other drivers because when you're driving behind another car in an F1 car and it's rainy, you cannot see shit.
Oh, I buy that. Yeah.
Yeah, because
low to the ground, right?
Well, yeah, and those tires just displace so much water, and it goes right into the person behind them.
Yeah, so there's no way of avoiding any of that. You're like, oh no.
I mean, there's lights on the back of the F1 cars, and they during a wet race they just blink constantly, and so that's where you kind of get, okay, there's the car because it's blinking.
You're like, that must be a car. I would probably crash immediately. I don't think I'd be able to do that. But
also, fun thing, those lights on the back F1 cars aren't brake lights.
What are they then? Just hazard lights? Or?
Yeah, they turn on because of hazards, and the other time they make things is that the way the cars work is that they recover energy, and one of the ways they do it is when you like when you kind of like let off the gas and then also like kind of brake hard into a corner, that's where you recover energy. And so like when you let off the gas, that's kind of like signifies energy saving mode, and it'll blink when you let off the gas.
Oh,
but it will not.
interesting.
So I'll let the person know behind, like, okay, they're slowing down because they're harvesting energy, but they're not necessarily. But it's not telling them that they're braking. So,
Huh. I had no idea. I just thought they were brake lights. So,
yeah. Well, apparently, the speeds and reaction times go so fast that like brake lights would be more hazardous. If they actually indicated that, because then like, you know, they react so fastly. If that actually meant it was brake light, then like those guys would be like stopping constantly and just creating more wrecks than would. So they just like kind of have to use their own natural like perception and intuition to figure out like what the other guy is doing.
So yeah, I think from my eyes that car's slowing down. Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, like, I don't know, you get in depth, like all those drivers, they have like a lot of like little things that they can use, and kind of like on a track they have like landmarks they can pick out, because they're like, you'll see when it goes into a corner, you'll see like this 150, and it's to say like how, you know, far away from the corner you are, and that's usually like that's your braking zone usually. But an F1 driver, like, you're trying to brake as late as possible, and so some guys will have like landmarks picked out where it's like, okay, I'm not braking when I hit like this 100 or 50 meter board, I'm braking in a different spot, but I have like a location picked out when I do that. So and then that changes throughout the race, because they start the race full of fuel, and so the car is heavier, and so like the characteristics of the handling change throughout the race. So
okay.
So all that changes.
That sounds complicated.
Oh yes, immensely. It's why only 20 people in the world do it. So
yeah, and why it's so expensive too. So.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But yeah, so then they got the race back. Oh yeah, well also there was controversy because they had a recovery tractor out on the track getting a car while there were still cars on the track. And why that was a big to-do is that the last time there was a fatality in F1, which was like 7 years ago, and it didn't happen on track. The guy hit a tractor and then was like in the hospital for like a year, and then eventually succumbed to his injuries. But anyways, this was the same venue that happened at, and there's like, wait, how the fuck did this happen twice? Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah. And then the fun thing is like the guy that happened to was like, he was like, hey, what the fuck? Because he was also friends with that guy. He got like caught for like speeding during a red flag, so he was also in the wrong. But
oh wow.
Because a red flag, basically, when that red flag flies, it's basically like, all right, get ready to stop. But even though you're kind of still supposed to keep going. But there's also a weird thing with the tires on F1 cars, where it's like when you're in the rain, like you can't just go as slow as possible, because that's also weirdly just as dangerous, because the colder the tires get, the less grip they have. And so like if you're just like, hey, let's take this F1 car down to like 5 miles an hour, like if as soon as they have to speed up, like those cars are going to be like spinning around and sliding all over the place. So it's a very weird window. But anyways, yeah, the safety car was supposed to gather him up and bring him to the pit lane. But I guess there was a moment where a tractor was out on track and the cars were still like going around and being collected up. And so I guess that's how it happened. Anyway, so they got the race going again. It became a timed race because there's so much delays, which basically means, they had like 45 minutes to finish the race, and then once it hits zero, when the leader crosses the finish line, then there becomes one more lap in the race. So that's how it becomes a timed race. And Max Verstappen pretty much just like beat the shit out of everyone. Like he had like a 20-second lead.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So he crossed the finish line, and then Leclerc was behind him, but Sergio Perez, who was also another Red Bull driver, was coming up fast on Leclerc, and Leclerc's tires were pretty much done. and he ends up like going off track and then like coming back up, and he just like beelines it. He just like cuts the corner because he like went off the track, and then he ended up getting a time penalty, and so that fight like ended up putting Perez ahead of Leclerc, and then there was a bunch of confusion because there's rules that state that like if you don't reach like the full distance, or if you don't go over 75% of the distance of the planned race, then there's like less points counted. But I guess because they finished the race, it's considered like a full race, and so they got full points. And then like the penalty didn't get added till like basically like 5 minutes after like the guys came in and like they had a podium ceremony, and then like they awkwardly like came over like, oh hey Max Verstappen, you're the championship. You won the championship. And he's like, oh okay.
He's like, cool, that works for me, why not? That's funny.
It was like just the most bizarre and awkward, like, hey, you've won the championship that I've ever seen.
And it's like, well, we wanted this to be more of a thing, but yeah, here you go. You're the champion.
But also, there's still 4 races left, so it's, it was going to be a weird thing anyways. Yeah, my favorite.
Is he going to be in the next 4 races, or is he done?
No, he's going to be there. He still have.
Okay.
They still have to secure the constructors championship, which I think they also have that wrapped up. But you never know.
Yeah, that's true.
And he could just do it for glory because he has like 13 wins this season. And I think he could get the record for most wins in a season. Although that record's going to be probably constantly broken because there used to be like 10 races in an F1 season, and now there's 24. So that makes a pretty big difference.
Oh yeah, that's a really big difference actually.
Yeah. Because there's one year when Sebastian Vettel won, and like I think he got like 13 wins that year out of like 17 races, and he won 9 races in a row. He won the last 9 races of the season, which was like, I don't think anybody's done that or come close. Well, I think Max Verstappen got like 6, and Lewis Hamilton's kind of got like, he's had a bunch of like, he won 6 in a row a bunch of times, but that season Sebastian Vettel was just insane, and then he ended up winning the championship early. He won it in India, and he parked his car and he got out in front of it and he bowed in front of his car because he won the championship.
That's funny. That's great. Like, why not?
And Sebastian Vettel did really good in this race too. I guess like this is his favorite racetrack. So it's kind of a narrow track, but it's like got a lot of like fast corners and windy stuff. The track goes underneath a bridge, so the crash like crisscrosses itself, which is kind of interesting for an F1 track.
That is interesting.
But yeah, so yeah, Max Verstappen's now a 2-time champion.
Congrats. That's awesome.
Unless weird stuff happens, because apparently there's a big to-do about whether Red Bull broke the cost cap for this and last year's season. So,
and then so they have to give it back then, or how does that work?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like I bet Red Bull was just like, they're not going to do anything. The people hate.
Yeah, how do they enforce this? Like, they're not gonna. Yeah.
Which
good luck.
That's what makes Red Bull like great heels of F1 is like they just like don't. It's like
just, what do you get? Yeah.
Just calling people's bluffs, not playing by the rules.
Yeah, we're gonna do whatever. It's fine. You understand? We're an energy drink company. Who cares?
I mean, like, and all the teams do that to some extent. Like, F1 teams are all about like bending the rules. It's just like when Red Bull does it, it's just almost hilarious how evil they come off of sometimes.
Yeah, even like some people. There's like a line, and they're like, "We'll just step our whole foot over it." It's fine.
Yeah, and Mercedes was so dominant that like people are like kind of basically okay with it. So that's why I bet Red Bull was just betting that like, hey, you're not going to take the championship away from us, because then you're going to ruin the whole series.
Yeah, people aren't gonna believe in anything if the credibility is gonna go to shit too. It's like, man, we're not doing that.
Which is a similar thing that happened there. There was like a penalty that was going to be applied last race, and it took them almost like 3 hours after the race whether they were going to apply the penalty or not. Basically, just because it would be unpopular to do so. I mean, it's one of those weird things. Because like they just don't want a race to end in a weird fashion. They don't want to have to like end a race under, it's like any other sport where it's like, at the end of a game, like suddenly like fouls, the ref swallows the whistle. It's like the exact same thing where like the ref doesn't want to have to take the game into his hands, even though rules are being broken.
It's like, I'm technically supposed to enforce this, but you know what? We're at this point where it doesn't matter. Get this over with.
Or I want to leave the arena alive or at least unharmed. So.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's best for everyone. Just let this go.
But that's sports. But
sports, gotta look.
Because like, what did anything happen with like the Astros? Did they take their championships away or anything like that?
I don't think they took it away, but like they suspended the manager and like suspended some of the people for a while and like made it so they couldn't manage or but I don't think they took it back because otherwise the Dodgers would have got it, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it seems like because they'll definitely do that shit in college sports. Like there's college sport. I forget who that it was, but they like took their championships away, and now just in the official records book, it's basically like no one won the championship.
I want to say it was like USC or Miami, maybe one of those, but I'm not sure which one. Because I know like when Reggie Bush played at USC, like he won the Heisman, but he was getting, which would now be legal, like benefits like like name, image, likeness and stuff. Like, but back then it wasn't legal, so they took his Heisman from him. So.
Oh, okay.
That's probably them, I would guess. But.
Well, I thought there was something in basketball, like some Kansas championships or whatever, or was it something with
I'm trying to remember.
What was the one guy who was at Louisville, and then he was before that he was like at like.
Oh, Rick Pitino.
Yeah. So then something happened there, where they took his stuff away.
Yeah, they did. I forget why, but yes, I think so. That sounds right. But, I should know this, but I forget.
Well, again, that's college sports, so it's like, yes, the rules weren't followed, and we're going to take that away. Whereas, like, with professional sports, because you're so dependent on your fans, on your success, that you don't want to like piss off the fans, so you just like never apply the rules as strict as you're supposed to. So.
Yeah, it's a little different. Like in the college sports, like the NCAA like can just do whatever they want. Like we decided we're doing this, and like that doesn't make any sense. Too bad. And like and then like pro sports, like there's collective bargaining and labor unions and antitrust and everything else. It's a little more complicated, but yeah, the NCAA can just like decide like you can have a 7th year of eligibility. Sure, why not? No, that seems fine. Or somebody that you think, they're a shoo-in, they got injured, they should get another year. Like, nope, sorry, you played too many games, but my knee got destroyed. Too bad. We don't care. Well,
Brett Favre tried to give a birthday present to his daughter or whatever.
What an expensive birthday present and unnecessary.
The money he has, the money he could willfully
give. He can afford it. Well, so here's the thing, like he probably knows he can afford it, but like I don't know if we talked about this or I can't remember, but like there was some interview or something recently he did where he claimed he got thousands of concussions when he played.
Yeah.
Because he was counting like any hit to his head as a concussion. So like, does he actually know what's going on, or is just pretending to know? Who knows? I would use that as a defense if I was him. Like, I got hit in the head. I don't know. Like, I don't know how much money I have. Who am I again?
That kind of thing. He literally has text telling the guy, like, hey, the public's not going to find out about us, like, taking funds away.
Yeah, exactly. They're not going to find out, right? Yep, they kind of did. Oh, well. Like, what an idiot. But, yeah, like, the funny thing is, I read something the other day that had a little bit more detail. Like, they tried to, like, get around some of the rules about the money that they use. It was like supposed to be for public good. So like this volleyball arena that was $5 million for the University of Southern Mississippi, where he's an alum of and his daughter played volleyball at, which you said earlier. they like pretended, oh, it's also a community center. So like poor people can come use it, but they don't really because like it's a $5 million like volleyball facility. What the hell would
Yeah.
poor people like? And so they're like, this makes no sense. And it's like, why do you think that you should be able to take? I can't remember the word. It started with a T. I think it's like TAMF or TNF or money. It's like
Okay,
federal assistance money. And they're like, yeah, nobody will notice this. And then also in the article, apparently in Mississippi, it's one of the worst states in regards to like welfare recipients. Like only 5% of people that actually qualify for welfare, they actually get money, and the rest just like, too bad, sorry, you're poor. And so like they're already like shortchanging poor people in Mississippi. Like nobody will notice if we screw over a couple more. It's fine. We need this volleyball arena.
Yeah,
My daughter won't love me.
I heard someone talk about, or basically it's like they can use it, like the state can use it to their advantage either way. Like if they don't give that money out, then they can be like,
Can keep it for other stuff, right?
yeah, well, and basically like it's like look like we're reversing, like, you know, you have less poor people, they're less unemployed now. Or they can be like better. Or if they just have a bunch of unemployed people that qualify for these benefits that they're not going to hand out, or inform people that they're
makes the state look like it's in a better state than they actually
no,
are. Like,
no. If they look worse, they can get more money. If they look better, then they can put the money in other places, so they win either way.
Like, well, we're gonna borrow this from the poor people that deserve it, and we're gonna buy a volleyball arena. Yeah. Everybody loves volleyball. That makes sense.
Which I don't like. How long does it take to like build that arena? There's no way his daughter would be like take advantage of it. Could she? Or is she even still in college?
In the story they didn't. I was wondering that too. They didn't specifically address that, but I think she might already be out of school. But
okay, that makes no sense to me.
Yeah, they're like, well, that just like what a well thought out plan. Like it worked out just the way they wanted it to.
And also to SMU, which is like classically a corrupt college.
Yeah, they've had some issues in the past, but you know, oh well.
Yeah, because
maybe they turn over a new leaf.
Weren't they like paying their football players, and they had to like they had to disband their football team for like 10 years or something like that?
Oh yeah, that was Southern Methodist in Texas. Yeah.
Oh,
Southern
okay, never mind.
Yeah.
This is a different SMU.
Yeah, I was gonna say different one, but they're close. They're like, I could see why you would think they're the same one, but yeah, they're a different one. Yeah. When Eric Dickerson played for them, the Pony Express, where he had all these sports cars and stuff. Yeah, there was like some kind of thing on ESPN about that. I can't remember if it was a 30 for 30 or something else, but.
Well, also just like Southern like college sports in general is just seemingly more corrupt than the other.
A lot of boosters, yeah.
Or they're just too flashy and don't hide it as well as the other ones.
They're like, who cares? People can obviously tell that we're enriching these people, but it's fine. Whatever. It's like the movie Blue Chip. What a movie. Nick Nolte, Shaquille O'Neal, Penny Hardaway.
Yeah, sports is ridiculous.
It is, but it's interesting sometimes.
Yeah, I saw the highlights of the Lions Seahawks game. It's like, man, they scored so many points and still lost by 3 points. But hey, like at least they can. It's like I don't know anybody in that team, but I barely know anybody in the NFL anyways. But it doesn't seem like that team should have like as high scoring of an offense as it does.
Well, yeah, like because it's Jared Goff is their quarterback because they got him from the Rams when they traded Matthew Stafford to them. So you would think like, oh, he's not very good, but then he's throwing to like, excuse me, wide receivers that like aren't like they're okay. Like I can't remember how to say this guy's name. It's like Amon-Ra St. Brown or something. It's like a very complicated name. He's pretty good. And then there's like a Jameson Williams that they drafted, hasn't played yet. It was good last year in college, but he is injured and he hasn't played yet. They have a couple other people that are good, and their running backs are decent, but yeah, they score a lot of points. Can't really defend anything. Today they scored 0 points. So.
I didn't know. I didn't see the game today or highlights.
I just saw that before we got on the podcast that they lost like 29-0 to the Patriots or something.
That's bad.
So, yeah, not good. They gave up a lot of points and didn't score any. So and the Patriots haven't really been that good this year. So that's confusing. No. It's like, well, what happened there?
Well, actually, occasionally I just look at the standings, like how's it going, and like I think there's only like 2 undefeated teams in the league, so like everybody has a loss.
It's Philadelphia now. I think they're still playing. They were winning last I knew, but
Yeah.
I haven't really watched. I don't have the attention span to like actually sit through a full game of anything, so I like end up reading about it later and go, oh,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I guess this is what.
Yeah, I don't watch the games live. I just like look at the box scores. But
I mean, I like if I want to really torture myself, I'll like try to watch some of the Bears game, but yeah, I didn't do that today. I was like, I'd rather just watch an episode of Doctor Who from the 70s that's just randomly on Roku TV. That's better. Why not?
Well, yeah, there's a podcast I'm listening to now where they usually talk about video games, but like they're both Chicago Bears fans, so now they've created like a side sports podcast, and now they're on like, oh yeah, man, the Bears. This might be a historically bad team, guys. Let's get in and have some fun.
Yeah, it's I mean, being a Bears fan, like watching them is always painful because they haven't had a quarterback that's been decent since Sid Luckman, and that was in the 40s. So
Yeah, well, yeah, they even brought up some stat that I guess like the only team where a quarterback has never thrown for like over 2,000 yards is in Chicago. They've never had a quarterback.
And that's probably going to stay the way it is now because right now Justin Fields is having some problems. I mean, he did better today. This is the first game he threw 200 yards in the whole season. So, which should be something you should be able to hit every game pretty easily. But for whatever reason, they have a hard time throwing the ball, whether it's like the offensive line not protecting and the receivers not getting open, or him holding on to the ball too long, which I think is the main thing. But
yeah, when I was talking about the Bears, I didn't mean like historically the Bears are bad always. I meant like this team in general might be one of the worst teams they've ever had.
It's pretty bad, but I mean, like so that's the thing that's weird about this team. Like, there's some spots of the team that like isn't. Their defense is okay, but they can't stop the run really at all. Huh. And then like they can run the ball, but they can't throw the ball. So like it's not really like it doesn't make a lot of sense. And they got rid of a lot of like veterans from the last like coaching staff, and like they have a lot of dead money. So like they're gonna have like the most salary cap space next year, so they can like sign a bunch of people if they really want to. But I don't know if they're gonna do that or not. But yeah, and they're trying to use this season as like let's see if Justin Fields is actually good or not. And if he isn't, we didn't draft him, so we can move on. But and it's a brand new offense. Like their offensive coordinator is like he was with the Packers, but didn't call plays there, so he's never done that before. And it's like their head coach is more defensive oriented. So I mean, it's an interesting mix. But I mean, they're 2-3, which I guess is fine. I don't know. I mean, I don't expect them to be in the playoffs.
Well, especially in that division right now, it's like there's really nobody like leading that division definitively right now.
I was gonna say, like, I guess the Packers by default, like, the
Vikings they're the best, but they still have like 2 losses or 3 losses to their names. So.
Yeah, the Vikings would be like number 2, I guess, but yeah, it's just I don't know, it's weird. Like it's pretty much a lost season. Like they're gonna try to see what they have, and because Ryan Poles, which is the new general manager.
The Vikings are leading the division.
Are they? Okay, well, there you go. See how little I pay attention.
They're 4-1. Oh, wait, no. They might be.
There you go.
Wait, hold on. Let me look. I think they might have lost today, so they might that might not.
No, they beat the Bears
today. They beat the Bears. Yeah, they're 4-1.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. They won. Because they only won by 7, which I was surprised. They're like, oh, the Bears actually scored more than 20 points today? That's amazing. Like I wasn't expecting that, considering they like scored 12 points last week, and it was I don't know if you're familiar with the game last week. They played the Giants, who are equally terrible, and they let the Giants quarterback Daniel Jones like score 2 touchdowns on bootlegs where he just ran the ball and they didn't try to stop him. They're like, all right, bye, and he did. And they all their points were scored by, they had to sign I think it was Michael Badgley like off the street the day before because their kicker couldn't make the game. Their normal kicker Cario Santos couldn't do it for some reason, so they had to sign this guy off the street, and he scored all their points. And then he did that, and then they had to release him like the next day because their kicker was available. And they're like, sorry, thanks for your contribution, appreciate it. So yeah, pretty cool.
And I have no idea about baseball. Is baseball in the playoffs yet?
The playoffs just started on Friday.
Oh, okay.
It was like the wild card round. And I only know that because for some reason it was on ABC and it made our newscast like start late, and people were like happy about that. Like, I don't have to do anything. Okay. And there was a couple people that were actually like Philadelphia Phillies fans that were like excited, but I was like, I don't really care either way. But Baseball's okay, but it's kind of boring. Like in person, I guess it's okay if you're interested in the teams, but it's too slow.
Yeah, I like
At least,
watching. I like watching late inning playoff baseball and never
yeah,
anytime else.
yeah, because otherwise, like, there's no real stakes to it because it's 100 and how many 80 games, 82 games or whatever.
Yeah.
Like so, like if somebody loses a game, they're like, oh, whatever. There's 100 more of them. Who gives a shit? Yeah, but when it's like
Uh,
game 7 in the playoffs or like a wild card one game and you're out thing, it's better to watch. I
yeah.
think.
But they're implementing rules to basically like make the game go quicker. Um, like I guess like a lot of teams now, the thing they're doing is just hiring gigantic pitching staffs and just like rotating people in and out, based on like matchups and stuff like that. So now they're not gonna allow that. It's like, all right, you get like four pitchers, and so because what was taking up all the time is just swapping the pitchers in and out because it was just like a
Yeah,
whole
like this
to-do.
guy's gonna face one batter. We're getting a different pitcher.
Yeah, so they're not gonna allow that anymore, and so it's gonna really speed up the game. Um, and there's like basically like kind of a shot clock out there too, but I don't know how advertised it is. But yeah, I mean, yeah, basically there was no time limit for a pitcher to throw a pitch, so.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, just take your time. However slow you go, whatever. It's fine.
Although
This game can be
I forget what it was.
7 hours long.
There are some pitchers like they just like they don't take their time. Like they screw with the batters by just like as soon as the catcher throws the ball back to him, he's like already in the windup, and that's how he kind of catch batters off guard.
That's kind of funny. I like that.
And yeah, the games would go really fast whenever that guy was pitching. It's like it literally like decreased the game by like 20 minutes when he was pitching.
I'm like, wow, we can get out of here early, guys.
And I think the last thing is just like they don't want to get rid of the umpires, but basically it's like, no, we pretty much have it all settled in. The computers can do this. We don't need a guy to call balls and strikes anymore. But
Yeah, we don't need a human being to decide. I guess that was a strike when it actually wasn't. Yeah.
especially when on the broadcast you can clearly see whether it's a ball or strike.
And you're like, what was that guy looking at? That was obviously not right. And it's like, well, sorry, that's what I called.
Yeah, because they're literally putting like UI elements on the thing and like here's where the strike zone is. Like, oh, it hit it. So
Baseball.
I remember in hockey they had that
America's
thing.
game.
I remember in hockey they had that thing where they trace the puck and like have like flames coming off of it, which was kind of neat, but I think they got rid of that. Like it just made it too goofy.
Yeah, I think that was like their idea to like, because some people complain like, I can never tell where the puck is, and so they're like, this will help people that are casual fans watch hockey.
Yeah. Well, I have no
But I don't
idea.
know
Like, yeah, I don't know
if
if
it
like
actually worked.
I don't know if like HD made it better or not because I don't think I've seen like a hockey game in HD, but probably makes it better.
I haven't, but I was gonna say I've never been to like an NHL game in person, but that sounds like that'd be an interesting thing to do at least one.
Yeah. Well, for other show we watched Slapshot, and that was kind of interesting because that was like minor league hockey and how that's like entertaining because it's not even hockey; it's just basically like a prolonged fist fight.
Yeah, depending on the level of junior hockey or minor league hockey, there's people that are just playing it because they like it, and their only job is an enforcer, so they just beat people up like you treated our forward, you checked our forward too hard, I'm gonna punch you in the face, and that's all they do, and it's like, oh, all right. Like, what was that one Sean William Scott movie where he was just doing that, punching
Goon.
people? I can't think of it. Yeah, Goon. Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah. Well, I was like how it works in Slapshot is basically it's like when they stop like playing like a traditional game and just start beating the shit out of the other teams. So then then they get like a huge crowd that comes to the games, and I was like thinking about like our local team, the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders. Like anytime I hear about them, it's like, oh man, like the melee went so far, the goalies were fighting each other. Like I didn't hear about like good play or like, hey, this guy's going to the NHL. It's like, nah, man, that was a cool fight.
Yeah, I was like, he really punched the shit out of that guy. Oh, great.
But it's not the same thing with like minor league baseball where it's like they have to attract people to the team in other weird ways because they can't rely on, the pure sportsmanship to draw audiences.
Yeah, they're like, you don't care about this. That's like if you go to a Colonel's game around here, like there's a certain percentage of the people that actually care about baseball, and the rest of it is there because, oh, Mr. Shucks might say hi to them, or there's ice cream helmets, so there's some kind of promotion that they got them in the park and they got their money. Like, oh, you don't have to pay attention anymore. They have like, I want the hot dog race to start because I want the ketchup to beat mustard and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of that, but on minor league sports, that's kind of what it's about. But
yeah, but that's like the only like minor league stuff I know of, because like I talked about it on the other podcast too, where it's just kind of weird with baseball. Maybe it's changed, but like the idea that you draft somebody out of college and you're not sending them to your main team, like no, they gotta work their way up through the minor league system first, because like apparently college baseball doesn't prepare them for professional baseball.
yeah, it's a weird system because you have to get through, like, depending on the player and the organization and who drafts them and like where they end up, and they could like be really good, but if they end up like rookie ball, A-level ball, and like some coach like screws up what they're good at, then they never make it to the major leagues.
Yeah.
They're like, well, that was a waste.
Or there's there's the weird shit where like they can get like kind of, oh, what do they call that? Like, oh, they can like basically draft them out of college, or like kind of like put a hold on them, before they even finish college.
The futures contract thing, is that what we're talking about? I think
maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I
think that's what we're talking about, but I don't know the exact details, but I think that's what you mean.
Because I just know like mostly like basketball draft. It's like, okay, this guy's good in college, and like he's drafted number 1. He's next year he's going to be like almost an MVP or whatever. But that's basketball, where one guy can make an entire difference to a team, whereas like in baseball and football, it's like that's less likely to happen. You kind of need to draft a whole slew of people to make a team work. So
you need a lot more than one person to be a difference maker. Yeah. That makes sense. I can't say this guy's name, but I don't know if you saw, there's this guy that's he's 18, he's French, he's 7'4", and he has like an 8-foot wingspan.
No.
Yeah, so he like came to the United States like last week, and he was playing in a couple like G League games. He scored like 37 points one game and 36 the next game. So he's basically like Kevin Durant but taller, and he can like shoot, and he was dunking on people, and he can pretty much do everything. He's like taller than Rudy Gobert, like the 7-footer, the French guy that I don't know who he plays for now. He used to play for the Jazz, but like he made him look like a child. He's like much taller than him. So yeah, and he like played those 2 games, I think, just to show that he could compete like against people in America. And the rumors that he's not going to do anymore until the draft because he's already secured the number 1 pick. But I don't know. Who knows?
Oh, okay. I didn't know like you could play for their minor league system and still be drafted.
Yeah, you can like, you don't have to go to college now. You can like skip it and like go to play in the G League, or like go play in Australia. A couple of people have done that. But,
okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, it's like YM, but I don't know his first name. It's like WYEMBA is like the last name, I think. But I'm probably butchering that because if I don't recognize the name, I can't pronounce it usually. But yeah, I saw some of the highlights, and he was just like like his arm's so long, he's just dunking over people, and they like can't stop him. Like he's so tall, and his wingspan's so great, he can just shoot over anybody he wants. He doesn't even have to try. So that's fun.
Yeah, well, it's not really a big man's league right now, so.
No, but like he moves like it's kind of like shoot, I just blanked on that guy's name. Do you know the really skinny white guy that just got drafted by the Thunder, that he broke his foot like immediately, but he played at Gonzaga last year? Chet Holmgren is his name.
Okay.
Which is a ridiculous name, but his nickname is the Slim Reaper, which is funny. But yeah, he's just like rail thin and tall, and he's good at blocking shots and like dunking if nobody's in the way. But other than that, like he's kind of not the most he's kind of like thin, but he was okay in college. I don't know how it would work in the NBA because people are a lot bigger and stronger. But
if he's that fragile, he's probably not going to make it in the NBA.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like maybe this injury is a good thing because it'll allow him to get stronger before he plays. But the issue, like the bigger you are, like 7-footers usually have problems with their feet because they're putting so much stress on it.
Yeah, it's always foot stuff with those guys.
and not the kinky foot stuff, the break your toes kind of thing. Get your mind out of the gutter, people listening. It's not that kind of podcast.
Yeah, because growing up, it was Rick Smith's also like a 7-footer, and he always had foot problems when he was out of a game.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, it'd be cool if he was available, but he's hurt. So, or Bill Walton's a good example of that. Like he was good for a while when he first started with the Trailblazers, and then he was the shell of himself, so he kept getting hurt. And now he's just a really tall, eccentric deadhead that does college basketball. Good for him.
He found his way in life.
He did. I like him. He's kind of interesting. I haven't listened to this yet, but I guess there's like a almost 3-hour podcast where him and Al Franken, who are both Grateful Dead fans, like talk about the Grateful Dead incessantly for 3 hours. I'm not sure if I could listen to that for 3 hours, but maybe 10 minutes would be entertaining. I don't know.
I don't know. Did you ever? Oh man, what was the podcast where it's like? Do you remember the Scott Aukerman like fish podcast with?
Oh yeah, I want
Harris
to listen to
Wittels?
that, but I keep forgetting to do that. Is that still around somewhere?
No. I mean, they kept doing it because they only did it. I'm not sure if they wrapped up while Harris Wittels was still alive, but they've kind of switched to different things. Like they did. Are You Talking U2 to Me? Was there a different one where they talk about U2? And then
Is that with Adam? Yeah, Adam Scott, right?
Yeah, and then they switched to like an REM podcast, but I remember those fish ones were just like really funny and just like very obscure because like it was like only Harris was like excited to tell them about fish.
Yeah, and they're just like, why do we care about this? This is
Yeah.
stupid.
It was I don't know, it was just the energy of it that I like thought it was funny because it was like, well, I'm also incredulous about liking the band Fish, and so
And it's like, I'm also not sure why we're doing this, but let's keep doing it.
but they also talk about like there's a website that like people record every Fish concert and like they have like hundreds of different versions of every song, so it's like, no man, you can't just listen to a Fish album, you gotta go see them live.
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing with like the Grateful Dead, like in like Dead and Company. That I think they're touring one more year and they're retiring, but because that's like some of the last living members of Grateful Dead. But like if you go to one of their shows, they never play the songs the same ever. So like, I hope they play the song and they don't play it at all, or they play it and like, well, that was fucking weird. What was that? Like, so it's kind of interesting, I guess. And then a lot of the people that go to Fish concerts or Grateful Dead or whatever jam band, like they're not. Some of them are on drugs, so it doesn't really matter to them like how they play the song.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's interesting, like they're on acid or whatever. But yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, I've never been to a Fish concert, but I've been to a couple Dead and Company concerts, and those are interesting. So
I just can't go to concerts. I don't like them, so.
I mean, I'm okay. It depends on like where it is and like the people around me. If the people around me aren't crazy, I'm fine. But
No, because the music I like, the people around me are never going to be fine. So it's all right.
well, like the Tenacious D concert that I went to, the last concert I went to recently, like there was a lot of like idiots at that was kind of annoying. But
Yeah.
eventually, all those people got so drunk that they fell over and like weren't in the way anymore. So that was good.
That's okay. I'll listen. I can only enjoy music by myself. I can't. There's no way I can listen to music with other people, so it's fine.
So what you're saying is you have to be like a wealthy, like Saudi billionaire, and you can have private concerts. You can fly like people in, like play only for me.
Nah, that'd still be weird.
Yeah, you're like, don't look at me though. Look over there.
Can you just like record
Don't
this and
wanna
I'll
look at
listen
you.
to it later?
I just want to pretend this is a recording. Don't look at me. You're not real. But yeah, no, I don't mind concerts occasionally. It's not something that I like go to on a regular basis, but sometimes they're interesting. It depends.
I've been to 3 concerts. I enjoyed one, so.
Which was the one you enjoyed?
I went to 2 MC Chris concerts. The first one I went to was fun. The second one was not. And it wasn't because the MC Chris or the other bands were bad. It was purely just the crowd was annoying.
Why was that? What was the? Yeah, if there's like people around you that are making the experience like worse, you're like, oh, okay, guys, like a lot when I go to concerts now, like the biggest thing that annoys me is like people have their phones out recording everything.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the purpose of that is. Like if they just want to have it to remember it later, or they just like, I gotta show people that I went to this. Like I don't and they're not really paying attention. They're just recording everything. And they're not doing it like well, they're doing it vertically and badly and the shaky video. I'm like, well, are you really gonna look at this in like even 2 weeks and be like, oh, I'm glad I recorded that? You
I
should have just
record.
paid attention because you paid money to the yeah.
I recorded the MC
Go ahead,
Chris
sorry.
concert we went to, the first one. I just found a coat rack I could set the camera up on, and then just hit record, and then enjoyed myself, and
See,
grab the
that's the
camera.
smart way to. That's the smart way to do it. If you're gonna do it that way. But like most people don't do it that way.
And then I made bootlegs for the people that went with us to the concert.
That's cool. And then and MC Chris is like cease and desist. You know?
No, because it's on the thing. It says you can record. So,
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that
um,
was. I'm trying to remember what I was listening to where they were talking about like because when you mentioned, I think you said that people record Fish concerts because they're all different and stuff, right? I think
yeah,
you said that. So like the Grateful Dead, like for as long as they were around, like people were doing that, like trading cassette tapes of their performances, and they let people do that because they knew that made people bigger fans of them. Like their record companies didn't want them to do that because you're like giving away stuff, but they didn't really care. So, and they're like, whatever, who cares?
um, but no, like the second one I went to was in Iowa City, and like, this sort of thing with like the what do you call it? Like the like manners. I don't know. Like the order of operation is kind of like you sit through the opening act. You're up front. Well, then that's your spot for the rest of the concert. And
Oh, okay.
and so like we spotted up. We enjoyed the opening act, and then as soon as MC Chris came out, just this horde of people filtered through, and tall people just pushed their way through, got to the front, and then just like made it all of a bad experience because all I wanted to do the rest of the night was just punch people. So,
You're like, you're in my way.
and also like I did my time. Like this is my spot. It's not yours. But like it's like oh the reason I'm here. Like and then grab some alcohol, push their way to the front, and presumably have a good time making other people's time bad. So whatever.
Yeah, I try not to like negatively impact anyone else's experience when I go somewhere. Like I think that's the least you could do, but some people don't even pay attention. So
Same thing. I went to a Tool concert, and that was like the same thing. It's just like people pushing you around, not being able to join the concert, people in your way. You can't see anything, so then you just have a weird angle, and then at that point, you're not even enjoying the music anymore. It's like, wait, what? Are you here to enjoy the music, or are you here to just create chaos and like get attention? Like, I don't know what this is to you, but it doesn't help anybody else.
Can it be both? Why not both? Yeah. You can go back and forth. Have you ever been to Red Rocks Amphitheater?
No.
We went there this past summer, like I think it was June or July. I can't remember. We saw the Avett Brothers there. Do you know who that is? I think
No.
you know that. No? Okay. I'm trying to think of what you'd know them from. They've had like a couple songs that have been around, and they did a documentary on HBO with like Rick Rubin. But anyways, it's like these two brothers, and it's like this guy named Joe that's like Asian that plays the cello, and then a drummer, and then a girl singer. But their songs are okay, but Red Rock Amphitheater is cool because the way that it's built, like it's built into the side of a mountain, so like there's like no bad seats anywhere, like you can see everything,
Yeah.
and the acoustics are pretty cool. So I recommend going there if you get a chance because it's pretty cool.
Well, because I've always wanted to see Nine Inch Nails live, but like they don't come here, and so it's like
Yeah, they don't.
so it's like oh, like either got to go to like when they're performing in Chicago or Minneapolis, and that's all 3.5 hour drives, and they're doing like they're gonna be in Chicago for like but it's like a music festival, so it's not like they're not like doing
Yeah,
a
it's
whole
not just
concert.
them; it's other people that you don't care about.
Yeah, well, I mean, I probably like the other ones, but I'd really only go for Nine Inch Nails, and then again, if it's not just Nine Inch Nails, then you're just getting another diverse group of people who are assholes in different ways. So,
Yeah, like these people annoy me, but I can't put my finger on it.
I still haven't watched that like Woodstock '99 documentary yet, but
Oh yeah, I watched that. That was fun.
it was fun. Okay.
Well, it probably would have been fun for the people there, but like it
Yeah.
was so obviously like badly planned, and it was like going to shit, and they're like, yeah, we'll just keep it going. It's fine.
Yeah.
It was obviously dangerous and should be stopped, but they're like, no, 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 it's fine. Whatever. We need the money. They paid us, so we're just gonna let it keep going. And Fred Durst made it worse, and Red Hot Chili Peppers did too. So
Yeah. Um, 'Cause I don't know if it got any more in depth in it. Because I remember it was like, it's awful. It was all sexual assault. And nobody could get water. And then people are setting things on fire.
yeah, there was a lot of things. Like they didn't have enough, like like you said, water or food. It was really hot. There was women getting groped constantly, and nobody did anything about it. It's like people sneaking in that didn't pay, that were like bringing drugs in. There was like people getting angry and fighting. It was a lot of things.
These people should have snuck
Did
in
not
and brought
go well.
water.
I know that you could have made a fortune. Like, you want some water?
A legal fortune.
Yeah, like I did this and I help people. Are you going to throw me out? They probably would because they wouldn't be an official vendor, but still.
I heard that the Italian GP this year was a nightmare, but I guess it's a nightmare every year. But because F1's just like really big right now, they just got a big audience, and they had a thing where it's like you couldn't just go to a vendor and buy something. You first had to like exchange your money for like the local track money. And then go to a vendor, and then like all the prices were like odd, and so you end up having like, well, now I gotta go back to, and it's like all 8-hour lines and stuff like that, and you can't bring any water and stuff like that. So yeah, it was just a pure shit show.
Doesn't sound pleasant.
But it kind of sounds like the Ferrari team in general. Anyways, it's like, oh, well-meaning, but the entire shit show.
Yeah, I was gonna say they mean well, but it doesn't always come off that way.
I mean, Ferrari's very successful this year, but like compared to their closest competitor, which was Red Bull, they made some crucially embarrassing and bad decisions.
I blame Adam Driver. It's his fault. Since he's playing, is it Enzo Ferrari? He's playing
Enzo Ferrari, yeah.
Which I think I'm like, I don't know if I buy that. He's playing a lot of Italians. Like he's in like House of Gucci. I'm like, why are you playing so many Italians? I don't understand.
I don't know. What's his background? Is he Italian?
I don't think so. I think if I remember correctly, he's from Ohio or like somewhere like that. So I don't know. I don't think he's Italian, but I don't know that either. So I guess I can't judge. I never saw House of Gucci. Have you seen that?
No, I have not.
I heard it's crazy, but I haven't watched it because I'm like, do I want to spend the time to watch this? It could be bad.
I mean, I only vaguely know what it's about, and it doesn't really interest me. But yeah, I've heard like.
Well, I think it just looks interesting because if I remember right, that's a Ridley Scott movie.
Yeah.
And then like Lady Gaga's in it, like going balls to the wall. Jared Leto is like unrecognizable almost, and wins an Oscar for just being insane. And Adam Driver's in it, so like it could be good, like one of those so bad it's entertaining type of things. But it's on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it. But
yeah. Oh, there's tons of that.
I haven't done that.
I've been meaning to watch that like one Sword for the Last Duel movie for like 3 months.
Oh, that movie is amazing. Yeah, I like that movie a lot. Mostly because I'm like, why did they make this? Like, it's so crazy. It's like some of the choices in it are like, what the hell is going on? But like, it's pretty brutal at the end too, which is interesting. But
well, that's also Ridley Scott, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that is also him. Yeah. I remember, I'm trying to think what podcast he was on when he was talking about that movie and talking about House of Gucci. It was interesting, but I can't think of what it was.
I think he was on WTF at one point, but
I think that's the one. Yeah, I think you're right. But yeah, Ridley Scott's a very interesting director. He like went to art school in Great Britain and like it's like I'm just gonna make movies now. I'm like, okay, cool.
Well, he was a commercial director for a really long time.
Yeah, he did commercials for a little. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think Alien was his first movie that was really big.
Yeah, that was his first movie.
Yeah, which is cool. I like that movie.
Yeah, I never saw. What's it called? Is it just called Legend? Yeah, I think it's called Legend. That's the one with Tom
Oh, the
Cruise.
Tom Cruise one? Yeah,
Yeah.
I have not seen that either, but it looks crazy.
I've always seen bits of it. I was like, what's this movie? It's like Legend. It's like, okay, and then just turn the channel.
You're like, not watching that anymore.
I
Maybe
mean,
if I'm
it always looked cool, but I just like somehow was never interested in actually like finish watching the movie.
Yeah, like, I don't know if I care enough to put in the time.
um,
I'll watch the movie where Tom Cruise is in space because that would be weird. So why not?
well, yeah, he did something with NASA. Aren't they supposed to shoot him up there to shoot some scenes
Yeah.
for some movie?
I'm not sure if they've done it yet, but I'm hoping that this is going to sound bad that he doesn't make it. Maybe that does sound bad. I don't know. I just think he's an
Wow.
interesting person, and I'm not sure he's a good person. But oh, well.
Yeah. He has qualities, but that doesn't.
That's very glib, Conlon. I don't know. Like, he doesn't believe in psychiatry. He's being very glib right now. He likes to jump up and down on couches. He's probably helped his friend Miscavige like murder his wife. Stuff like that. All
Yeah.
hearsay, but still. I'm saying it on a podcast and people can find it. What do I care? It's fine.
What the hell is it going to go to? Oh well.
Something about Scientology? No.
No. I also don't care for Scientology. So.
I'm not a big fan either. I mean, more I learn about it, the more I'm like, how do people? I guess I can understand why certain people, like especially people that are trying to get into show business, would fall for it. Because like we'll help you, self-actualize and be your best self and make you successful. And look at all these actors that are successful that do this. But beyond that, like I don't know why anybody would be like, yeah, this is a good idea. This makes sense.
No, it's
Kind of strange.
It's built to prey on people. So.
Oh yeah, it's pretty obviously built for that. But some people are just like, well, maybe it's okay.
But as all religion is, it's built to prey on you or control you. But yeah.
Yeah,
But if it gets enough of a history, then people assume like, oh, they're doing morally good things, right? It's like, I don't know, probably
it's
not.
a dogma delivery device. It's a way to control your behavior. Don't misbehave, or some spirit in the sky will strike you down.
And consolidate wealth, that's.
Yeah, that too. All that good stuff. Churches. I think it'd be cool if they paid taxes, but I don't think that's going to happen.
But I read a manga.
How is that? I heard those are interesting.
It was alright. Yeah, it was pretty. I was reading the Chainsaw Man series.
That sounds fun. Is that the one where the guy's hands a chainsaw?
Yeah, they do become chainsaws, but like everything's good. Like the chainsaw bursts out of like the middle of his arms, and like the chainsaw is like basically like it's like it burst out of his arm and it's in the middle of his arm and then just like rotates magically, and then his head becomes a chainsaw into itself, and at some point his feet.
I mean, that
become
sounds
chainsaw.
like that could happen. Sure.
Yeah, it's a very interesting world where basically everyone's poor and everyone's threatened by demons, and all the demons have different weird quirks about them, and then the people that fight the demons have weird quirks about them, and they can make pacts with demons so they can get powers to fight other demons, but always like tragically ends their lives because that's what the contract with the devil will do. There's no guns because one of the devils is the gun devil, and it was like made in America and killed like millions of people, so then they banned guns all over the world.
Wow, that's interesting.
And it's more of like a coming of age story because it's like this like kid who's like a teenager, and his dad dies, and he like takes over his dad's job, which is killing demons, and then he has like this kind of little demon dog with a chainsaw nose, and it's called Pochita, and then like the guys he's working for end up killing him because they're demons, and then the Pochita makes like a deal with him, or makes like a deal where he merges with the kid and becomes Chainsaw Man. Yeah, he has like a pull. He has like a pull string on his chest that he pulls. That's when he activates his Chainsaw Man mode.
That's pretty cool. I should read this. It sounds fun. Where do you get this at? Is this
I just
online or?
I got through Comixology through Amazon. That's like their kind of web reader, but like I had to buy it all individually, which it can be very expensive. It can be like $11 like for an issue, and it has like 3 or 4 comics inside each volume. So I enjoyed it, but it can be expensive.
So they have to like does that just get sent over here from Japan, or is that how that works? Or?
Yeah, I mean it's translated, so but
I was assuming it was, but I wasn't sure. I'm like, unless I don't know Japanese, and I don't think you do either, but I was just assuming.
You do have to read it. Yeah, you do have to read it right to left. You don't, not like the words, but like the way the comic, like the right page is the first page, and then you go the right column and then move left and then back down to the right and left. So instead of left to right, so you have to do that backwards. So that's only kind of the weird thing. So the interesting thing about like mangas, it's like always in black and white, but because it seems to be like more singular artist stuff, and it's less of like, I mean, it's still like an industry, but it's not like it is here where like everything's colored and there's like 40 people are working on one comic book. But yeah,
have you read any other mangas? Just that one?
Well, I had like, there's like some free samples I got to read. So I was reading the Knights of Sidonia one. That's pretty crazy. But also like reading that, I was able to see the formula for like manga and between like the anime I see, where it's like, oh, so they just do this every anime. Like there is, it's like, it's actually so weirdly generic that it's like disappointing. Like, oh, they're all like this. It's like always some young kid that needs to save the world, and then like he's horny, but like he's a stand-up person, but they have him be accidentally, walk in on people naked. So it's like, well, I didn't mean to. It's like, it's in every.
It was a complete accident. My bad.
Yeah, he's too involved with saving the world. He forgot he was walking into the women's locker room, stuff like that. But
I guess that's maybe, but I don't know if that's believable. Maybe not.
But like that exact same scene is pretty much in every manga. It's like some form of it. It's like, okay, like when are you gonna get some new material? I also read some. It looks like it says blame with an exclamation point, but it's supposed to be like blame. It's supposed to be like it's like the onomatopoeia of like blam when a gun goes off. Like that's what. And that's like, that one was like the most interesting and different, where it was like super weird. It was very sparse. It was actually kind of like, hey, I could do this, because it was so well done, and just like, and I guess the guy was like an architectural designer, or he was like a construction worker. And he just had like these big ideas of like buildings and stuff, and he could draw them very minimalistically, but like make it seem like a very large space. And it's a very weird world where it's like entirely built. So there's like no organic life, essentially. People are mostly robots, but there are still like humans that exist, but there's like this system that's like, that will kill them immediately because they're looking for there's like some genetic like outlier or ancient genetic thing that allows people to connect to the internet, but like all those people are dead now, so they're trying to find people that are like have like some DNA that would unlock the internet.
That's weird. I like that idea.
But like there's like one part like it explains there's this guy, he's basically a robot and he's immortal. It barely talks. Like there's barely any dialogue in the comic book in general. And it has kind of like Blade Runner and just evil, or there's like a part where like he gets on an elevator and like the next panel is like 15,000 years later, and like that's how long it took the elevator to ascend to like the next
Wow.
level.
That's a very slow. Yikes! That's a very slow elevator. If I would get off that elevator, like, no thanks. After like 10,000 years, I'm like, I'm good.
So yeah, it was that one was like very weird, and yeah, you don't really want to like. I don't know, yeah, I thought it was good just for how like weird and interesting it was, but it's like it'll put nightmares in your head.
Yeah, it sounds like it kind of get to you at some point, but it sounds
Well,
cool.
yeah, I mean, it's also just so bleak. Like there's almost no main characters because everybody dies. I mean, you do have
Like,
one
yeah,
main character,
sorry.
but you know, your main character doesn't have a personality. He's basically a Terminator, who occasionally does because everyone by comparison he's the most moral person, but he really doesn't care that much.
Yeah, like compared to everyone else, he's moral, but not really that much.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So yeah, those are the main guy I read. Well, also because they're coming out with a Chainsaw Man anime that's like coming out, I
Oh,
think this month. I don't know where.
where's that? Is that gonna be? Where's that gonna be on?
It's probably gonna be on Crunchyroll. I don't know.
That's what I was gonna guess, but I don't. I was gonna say Lucy watches that, but she watches a lot of anime, but I don't really haven't seen a lot of anime. It's not bad. I just haven't got around to it because I have a hard time watching anything besides like, oh, I guess do I want to spend my 20 minutes I have watching this, or do I want to watch something?
Yeah. You should get into One Piece, Matt.
There you go. What's that one about?
It's about pirates looking for a treasure called the One Piece, I think. I think there's
And it's like a One Piece chicken nugget meal or One Piece like that'd be funny.
No, it's a comically large like series. I think there's like 17 seasons with like 30
That's cool.
episodes a season out there.
So you're saying I should just binge it all at
Yeah,
once?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, why not? I like it. I could do that.
But like no, the fascinating thing I saw, because I also saw some of the Knights of Sidonia anime they made, and I was surprised like how the adaptate like in manga, at least how it's done there. It's like adapting it to anime just basically means bringing it into motion. Like they don't like change anything. It's like the comic book is just the storyboard for the anime.
That was going to be my next question. Like, how different is this between the two? But it sounds like they're just like, and it moves now, guys. Guess what?
Yeah, no, it was like almost exactly. It's like it was like weird because like here it's like every time you do an adaptation, like somebody has to put their spin on it and like things change, and sometimes like that makes sense, and then other times, it's like it's just change for change's sake. It's
Like the new Hellraiser movie that I haven't watched, but I don't know if that's good or bad.
I hear good things about it, so.
I was gonna say it looks interesting. I just haven't taken the time to watch it. But
I don't know.
you-
It seems like people like any kind of like a knee jerk reaction about it is like Pinhead is a woman, but it's like I don't know. It's like an androgynous woman, and like Pinhead's kind of an androgynous guy, so I don't know why it matters.
yeah, that's like I don't see that much of a difference. It seems fine to me, but some people are upset about it for some reason. Like they're upset about female Ghostbusters, I guess. But
No, the new thing right now is did you see the stuff about the new Velma series, the Scooby-Doo Velma series?
oh, I saw they announced the cast for it, but I don't know anything else.
So yeah, people are super mad at that because they're just. It seems like, as far as I tell, they have a cast. They have a cast of voice actors, and they're just reflecting the voice actors into the show. Because so like Velma is like Indian or
Oh, Minnie Kaling, yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
or I think she's Indian or parts of that, or I
I'm
forget
trying to
how.
remember if I
There's
think
like
I can't remember which one, if she's Indian
Yeah.
or Pakistani, one or the other.
And then so Shaggy's voiced by a black guy, so it's a black Shaggy, and so people are like,
Oh, Sam Richardson, yeah, he's good. I like him.
The only thing I did, there's the person that does the voice of Daphne is Asian, and I don't know if the character, I don't know if the character portrait really reflects that, but anyway, so I thought that's what they're doing, but everybody's mad just because they changed the race of these characters for the voice actors. But
Yeah. Is that like you ever watch Central Park? Do you know that show?
no.
It's on Apple TV Plus. It's like an animated show. Like it's the same like what's his name? Lauren Bashar, like the same Bob's Burgers, I think. But
Okay.
it's yeah, but like the first season they had Kristen Bell playing one of the characters, and the character is like a mixed race girl. And then the second season, like we have to replace her with someone that's like the character. So they replaced her and put her like in a minor role doing somebody else. So we can't have a white lady doing a black girl's voice too.
Yeah. Same thing happened
So,
on,
I mean-
on Big Mouth too. So
Oh, really? Which character? The Missy or whatever? Or
yeah,
what the...
yeah.
Yeah.
Although I
That's,
find,
that's a good show.
yeah, there's kind of this thing where it's like, yeah, we should probably like not have a bunch of white people like voicing all these like people of color, and then like Phil
It's kind of
Lamar,
strange, but
and Phil Lamar went out there and was like, keep my name out of everybody's mouth.
yeah, he's like, don't talk about me.
Yeah, because he voices a lot of white characters. So.
Yeah, he's like, let's just keep walking. Look around, nobody noticed. All right, great. I'm good.
um. But yeah, people just get upset about. I don't mean I saw like a video of it like where it's like introducing the character and like it doesn't seem good, but I don't think you should hate it just because like Shaggy's black.
Yeah, I don't think that's a correct reason to hate that. Like, well, yeah, it doesn't make any difference if Shaggy's black or white. It's about the character and whether the show's good or not.
But also the show's called Velma, so it's like it's distinguishing itself from Scooby Doo. So
It's like a spin-off, I guess you would say, maybe.
yeah, well, I mean it's sort of like that new Wednesday show that's coming out on Netflix, like similar thing where it's like it's pretty much just the Addams Family, but it's gonna focus on Wednesday Addams. So
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I didn't. When's that going to be out?
I think it comes out this month. I think just
Okay.
in time for Halloween.
Makes sense. Like the Rob Zombie Monsters thing that I haven't watched.
Have you not seen the trailer for that?
I haven't, so I haven't watched the actual things. I'm like, I don't think I need to watch.
Oh, is it
this.
out? Is it out already?
It's on Netflix. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Oh, it
I
looks.
saw it the other day because I don't go on Netflix that much, and it's just like in new, and it's like the Monsters. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh man, it looked really bad when I saw the trailer. I mean, it could have just been a bad trailer, but yeah, it did not. It didn't look like a movie. It looked like it was just like me and you shot the monsters.
I mean, that can't be bad. We do a good job, right, everybody? We're two professionals in our prime. We can handle it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was like the audio seemed bad. All the framing was weird, and it was like the voiceover was just. It seemed like it wasn't recorded professionally, which seems like Rob Zombie
Kind of
could
strange.
get a hold of that.
He's like, you know how to do this, right, Rob? Yeah, whatever. Come on, let me do it.
Unless that was like kind of like the deal, it's like no, we're kind of going for like lo-fi and stuff like that.
Maybe it was what they were trying for, but maybe people don't know that. So like, oh, this is shitty. Like, no, they were actually on purpose doing this.
Yeah, but like, nobody pointed that out as like a thing, so that's just me trying to like do work for them. So
No,
Yeah.
you're like trying to help their PR. I get it.
yeah. I wanna like everything I watch. I'd rather enjoy my time than not. So
Yeah,
It's what-
I try to do that too. Like, I know people like to hate watch things, but like, I try to find something like, oh, that's interesting, and so I don't get completely like, frustrated by something. But
yeah, well, that's why I'm a bad critic because I want to like everything I watch, even if I don't. But
yeah, I get in trouble with that sometimes at my house. Because we'll watch something and everyone's like, "This is horrible." I'm like, "Yeah, but what about this part?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, okay. But that part was cool. Like, it was horrible. No, give it a chance. You know how many people work on this for so long? Like, just give them a chance.
Someone poured their heart into it, and they failed.
Yeah, somebody worked a 16-hour day for this piece of shit. Come on, at least like give it up for him, you know? That's
They
cool.
did the work, and it was
Yeah,
all
they showed
poor
up.
quality, but they did it.
They showed up, they ate craft services, and they did subpar work. But you know, everybody has bad days. It's cool. Not me, of course, but most everybody.
What's a bad day?
It depends on your definition of bad, I guess. Whether it meets expectations or you do a shit job, I don't really know. I was gonna ask if you've seen the movie Prey yet. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was.
What
great.
do you think? Did we talk about that already? I can't remember.
No, we haven't.
Let's hear your thoughts on Prey.
Well, I thought it was kind of interesting that I immediately forget who Dan Trachtenberg directed. He did the 10 Cloverfield Lane, but I also remember he did like a video game review show like in the early podcast days called Totally Rad Show. So I knew him from that first.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
And so he did a lot of commercial stuff, and then eventually got 10 Cloverfield Lane. That was big for him. He was supposed to do the Uncharted movie.
Oh yeah.
Which I saw that, which it's fine, but it's like
Not what you were hoping for.
I mean, I didn't have any high expectations. Like I heard really bad things about it, but it made a lot of money, and so I watched it. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is a fine like action movie. It just like it doesn't really work, but it's a fine for one watch. I mean, there's like crazy stuff that happens in it, but
Not something you want to revisit. Like, I guess that was fine.
yeah. I'm still wondering, like, oh, what would Dan have done? But anyways, he got to do this movie instead, which it seemed like this was unceremoniously released to Hulu, but it is like probably one of the best movies of the year. It's just like going back to basics with Predator, and so having it like, it takes place in like the 1700s or something like that, and
Yeah, it's I think it's really awesome. Like I watched it last weekend and I was like blown away. I'm like, this is great. Like I read about I'm like, that's interesting. And then I watched it. I'm like, yeah, this is the whole thing. Like the movie was so good. My dog, who's 4 months old, was watching it intently. She was watching the entire movie. She's just staring at the TV. I think mostly because of the dog in the movie, but she was really into it. She's like, all right, cool. And she never does that for anything.
I'm the dog. I'm represented in this movie.
And she's like, I feel seen. Wow, this is great. When is she going to start chewing on cords? That's what I like to do. Oh, she never did. That was a missed opportunity. Oh, well. But at least she didn't die, so that's good.
One thing I wondered is like, like the main character builds like this retractable tomahawk where she like ties it to herself and pulls it out, and it's and because I know Dan Trachtenberg probably plays video games, I wonder if it was written in the screenplay or if he brought that too, because there's a God of War video game series where like that's the character basically has chains wrapped around his arms and he can throw swords out and like bring the chains back to his hands by just yanking on them. So I was like, oh, that's
I would
just
say
God of War.
that he probably got that from that then, I guess. That sounds like it anyway.
Yeah.
I just thought it was cool because it just like the idea like make it set in that, you know, time period. I'm trying to remember now which tribe it was. I'm forgetting now. Yeah, like, and they did a dub of the movie in the native language, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I haven't really ever done that before. I didn't watch that because it's available. You can watch it. I'm like, I don't know if I would be. I mean, it'd still be a good movie.
Well, I thought I thought they had done they went the extra mile and just like recorded each one, but no, it's just dubbed over, which that's fine.
Oh, okay. That's still good though.
Well, I think so. I mean, I don't know. They could have. Well, I've seen some stuff where people do like deep fakes where they're able to, I forget which movie it is, but they basically did a deep fake so that when you go in and do the translation, they'll like move the mouth movements to the translation rather than like what the person was originally recorded saying. But that's like going way too far to do that stuff.
I was gonna say that seems like a lot, but sure.
I mean, you're letting AI do most of the work, so yeah.
That's true. Well, it's like, have you ever watched the show Lupin? Do you know that show?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think that show's
interesting.
interesting.
Sorry. Like, is that the Netflix one? I haven't seen that one, but I know what you're talking about.
So that shows. I actually recommend that show. It's really good. The issue is like it's in French originally, and like the way that they dubbed it, like it's like behind enough that it's like disarming, like it looks weird, like they're like lip syncing. It's odd. So if
Yeah.
you could ignore that the entire time you're watching it, then it's good. But like it's hard. Like the first like episode, I'm like, what is happening? They know it's this far off. Like okay, but maybe they're just like, yeah, whatever, it's fine.
So I was confused. There was an anime called Lupin the Third, and I thought I thought that's what you're talking
That
about.
might be.
Yeah, I've seen
I think
Lupin, but no, I forgot.
Maybe is that related to that? I don't know, because the one I'm talking about is like a French detective type thing. But
well, Lupin the Third, it's also it's more of a European thing, but he's like a thief. He's like an international thief. But
yeah, this is kind of like that too. But he's a thief, but he does it like to solve crime. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but like it's not
Okay.
bad. It's pretty good if you're into that kind of thing.
I've heard good. Yeah, it's like that and like Money Heist. Like
Yes, I've never watched that either, but I keep wanting to watch it.
Yeah, I hear good things, but just put that in the more of the good things bucket, and then I just go watch trash.
Yeah, at what point does the hear good things bucket need to be filled for you to actually take part in the content? You're like, how many good things do you have to hear? I don't know. It's kind of a moving scale. I haven't heard enough people say good things. Sorry.
But yeah, Prey is really good. I think everyone's seen it by now if he got Hulu.
I would assume, and like it. I mean, you should watch it if you haven't seen it. I recommend it.
But it probably should have been released in theaters because it's probably one of the best movies this year.
Yeah, I thought the performances were great. Like, yeah, it was believable.
Oh yeah, a bunch of people you've never seen before. I guess like the guy who plays the brother, that was his first acting role. So.
Yeah, he like used to work at TJ Maxx, and like he's in a family band like in Tennessee, like plays bars and stuff. And I'm like, that's pretty good for your first acting role like that. And then the lead, like I can't remember her name. She's been in stuff before, but she's really good too.
Yeah. I think her last name's like Mid Thunder.
Yeah, cool. It was some like name like that. That's not your real name. Like what the hell? Like
Amber,
it's a real name.
Amber Mid Thunder.
Yeah, I'm like, what a name.
Yeah.
A good name. Have you watched anything else recently that you would recommend?
There's probably something, but I'm just forgetting it right now. Yeah, I think we'll just like call it for right now because
no problem.
For some reason, I can't think of anything. The last thing I saw was I saw like the penultimate episode of She-Hulk, which I've been.
Oh, they're already at the end of the season for that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the season finale's next week. So.
Oh, I start watching that. I guess I really didn't realize it was that far along too.
Yeah, it's like kind of like I don't want to say it's a bad show, but it's more like it's more of a disposable show, so it's easy for me to watch it and forget about it. It's not, and I don't hate it because it seems a lot of hate around it, but like I think the show's totally fine. But it is like it is one of those like it missed the like heard good things bucket, but it's in the like disposable bucket where it's like I'll watch this. It's like I can get through this.
It's kind of like lodged between the two, like just hanging off both of them, and like it fall at any moment if there's a stiff wind. I get it.
And then because there's a bunch of stuff. I've just been busy this week, so I forget all the things I've watched. I've probably watched a bunch of YouTube videos, but
that makes sense. I was gonna say like I'm trying to think if I watched really anything this week. I haven't. This week's been kind of crazy, but I don't think I really watched much of anything, unfortunately. I tried to watch Hocus Pocus 2, but that didn't go very long.
I did buy Confess Fletch because I heard good things about it, where like people
I wanted to see that too, but have you watched that yet?
No, I just bought it.
Okay, you're like, I'll get to it.
Yeah, well, the thing that sold me on it is like, yeah, they just don't make rated R comedies like this anymore. So I was like, oh, okay, well, that sounds good. So I heard good things, so I just picked it up.
And it seems like John Hamm can like do a similar thing as Chevy Chase, but not be as big an asshole. So that's good.
Yeah, well, that's
for everybody on set. I know it doesn't take much.
I read some article about Chevy Chase, and that was pretty interesting about him just basically being the biggest asshole in the world and him just burning every bridge he ever built.
Which, like on one hand, like that's not a good way to work, but also like I guess he was like physically abused by his parents growing up, like all the time, like beat up all the time. So
Yeah.
I guess that would make somebody to be like that. I suppose if they got famous, they're like, oh, look at me, I'm important now.
Yeah, but he's still that way. He like never learned.
He never graduated from that. He's like, I was the first breakout star of Saturday Night Live. Everybody loved me. Oh
uh,
well.
um,
Chevy Chase, if you're listening, you're welcome to come on the show and tell us what you think.
well, also they announced they're doing the Community movie, but the only thing they're worried about is they're not sure if they can. Donald Glover's pretty busy, so they're not sure if they can get him to come back.
Yeah, I think that, and I read something like Dan Harmon said something to the effect of like, I'm not sure Chevy Chase is allowed to be in it, and it's like because all the stuff he did, like and the racist stuff he said.
Well, yeah, and they already wrote him out of the show like in the last season, anyways. So,
so what would be the point?
I never finished the last season, so I don't remember where it ended. So.
Yeah, I don't even. I stopped watching it at a certain point, and I don't remember what point. So it made an impact.
Well, that last season was on like the Yahoo streaming service, and
I don't think I got that one. Yeah.
And so I think like wherever you can watch Community, the last season will be there now. But that's the main reason why I didn't watch the last one, is because it was just like on the Yahoo streaming service, which was free, but I still didn't watch it.
You're like, I don't trust this. This doesn't seem on the up and up. Listening to this, we're not watching this.
But I've been watching Rick and Morty this year. I guess they've Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland have kind of like handed some of their writing duties over to like they're kind of letting the younger people take hold of the show this year, and so the show's pretty interesting and weird this year.
They're just going full out weird. Like, why not?
Well, they had like a thing where they introduced like that the mom like is like a clone, and so like her original self is like went off and had space adventures basically like Rick did. And then so like there's like this episode where basically like they're getting drunk and basically they end up having sex and like start a relationship. It's like, well,
that's interesting.
That's super weird.
All right. It's a little weird. I'm not sure about that. That's odd. But for that show, maybe it's so weird that it's normal. I guess they don't do normal things. So.
I mean, they kind of abandoned it towards the end of the episode because they have Jerry come in and like kind of like make it like awkward for all of them. So I think they just kind of like, well, Jerry came in and ruined it, so we're not gonna do this anymore.
It gets us out of that jam.
But no, the latest one, or not, it might not even be the latest one. The latest one I saw was The Night Family, which is actually just a great episode. It's the idea of it is like Rick did something where like when you go to sleep, your body will do like all the chores and stuff you don't want to do while you're sleeping, and then there's kind of becomes this divide where like the night people like start taking over and like demanding things and like kind of hold them hostage, and it's like it has a very interesting like look to it. It's a very dark episode, and it's kind of like a unto itself like horror episode.
Oh, a bottle episode is just by itself.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called. I can't remember.
Yeah, so that's just a really good episode. So
I'll have to check that out because I like that show. I just haven't stayed up to date with it. So
yeah, the new season just came out. I think there's like 5 or 6 episodes out. So
okay, well, I should watch that. Henry likes it. He's 5. He watches it all the time. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but oh well.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. He probably.
We were talking about Rick and Morty yesterday. We went to this coffee shop in town, and the guy that's like, "Yeah, I'll let my 2-year-old watch Rick and Morty because there's a difference between people saying "fuck you" and "go fuck yourself." And I'm like, okay. He never explained the difference, but I'm like, yeah, sure, that makes sense.
Yeah, you can let him watch Star Trek Lower Decks because for some reason they bleep out the swearing in that show.
Really?
Yeah.
That's odd.
I think actually in season 2 they just started letting them swear, and then now in season 3 they bleep it out for some reason. But
Just because they're like, people didn't like this way.
yeah, they probably just intended to be more for a younger audience. So I think they're kind of trying to write it a bit edgier. So I don't know.
That makes sense.
The thing I like about Star Trek Lower Decks is it's actually like more positive and I think more accurate to what Star Trek is supposed to be, where it's about like optimistic people who are just trying to do their best to make the world a better place, rather than kind of like some of the Star Trek stuff that's been out there where it's just about like how awful can we make everything.
Yeah, they're like, how far can we push the envelope?
But I think they swung that back around, especially with the Star Trek Brave New World. Or no, was it Strange New World? It's not Brave New World.
I think I don't know a lot about Star Trek, but they seem like they're making more and more Star Trek related things, and people like them too.
Well, that's just because Paramount owns that. So I don't know if you know this. So you know the original Star Trek the motion picture. So that was supposed to be. So Paramount was going to create its own network, kind of like UPN, but like 15 years before that came out. And they were going to create Star Trek Phase 2, and that whole movie was supposed to be like a new series, and then they end up turning it into a movie.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know that.
And so yeah, so Paramount's always been trying to make tons of Star Trek stuff, but yeah, because even like when Star Trek The Next Generation came out, like that was a syndicated show.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't like a network show. And so was Deep Space Nine was also syndicated. And then when Voyager came out, that's when UPN like premiered. So that was like, okay, now we have a Star Trek show for ourselves. And then Enterprise came out, and then that was kind of the end of Star Trek. And then it came back with the J.J. Abrams series, but now those are like separate. Now that's all weird. Now like the movie universe is separated from like the television universe, and two different companies own it or something. It's all kind of weird. Anyways, that's why
kind of convoluted. Yeah.
That's why Paramount is making a ton of Star Trek stuff, so, to basically prove that they own it.
If we make more of them, people will think we own it fully. All right, great.
Well, and they even have Star Trek Prodigy, which is like their kids show, that one's also good too. Like it's not meant for adults, but for what it is, it's really well done. Yeah, like you got like, crap, what's the guy? As Jason Mantzoukas as one of the characters on it.
That's funny. I like him.
And the first, like, I recommend watching the first episode at least, because it's actually like really well done and kind of dark for a kid's show, and the rest of them are kind of like, hey, wacky kid stuff. But for a kid's show, I think it's pretty well done.
And that's on Paramount Plus then? Or?
Yes, it's called Star Trek Prodigy. So.
Okay, I'll watch that.
But. Well, anyways, for the American Greed Factory podcast, I'm Conlon.
And I'm Matt. Thanks for listening.
Goodbye, America.